Hello, and welcome to The Budget Mouse, a podcast that will help you plan an incredible Walt Disney World vacation, even if you're on a shoestring budget. I'm Leah Althizer, and I've been helping people save money at Disney World for the past 10 years through my websites, podcast, and courses. I'm so glad you're here, and let's dive in. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to episode 108. I took my 12-year-old daughter on a quick trip to Disney World from June 8th to 10th, and I wanted to share everything that we did on this trip. I have to start with a disclaimer, though. No one should try to do this trip because when I go like this to Disney World, I'm truly going to work, and it's not meant to model a trip for you, but more meant to inspire you with some strategies that you could implement on your own trip. For example, we went for 3 days and stayed 2 nights in 2 different hotels so that I could review the hotels. So no, I don't ever recommend anyone do that for a vacation, but I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about these 2 hotels with you. So the first night was at Disney's Old Key West Resort, which is a Disney Deluxe Resort. It's actually entirely Disney Vacation Club villas. Now, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know I talk a lot about renting Disney Vacation Club points, but this one I actually did as a confirmed DVC rental. That means that someone had already made this reservation with their DVC points, and then we're looking to re-rent it out, to change the name on the reservation and let someone else use it because they weren't able to use it. So it was just a one-night reservation, but what was good about it is that it checked out on a Monday, which meant that we could use extended evening theme park hours at Epcot that Monday night, which was my goal, is to be able to try out that experience. Now, talk about that for a second. If you're staying at any deluxe resort, you have access to these extended hours at Epcot and Magic Kingdom currently, though it does change all the time what resorts are offering extended evening hours. It's 2 hours extra just for guests of deluxe resorts. At this time I'm recording it, it's at Epcot on Monday nights and Magic Kingdom on Wednesday nights. But in the past, it has been at Hollywood Studios certain nights of the week and Animal Kingdom other nights. So it is free. It's for anyone that's on the reservation gets these extra 2 hours in the park. And I'd never done it. I wanted to try it. So I was looking for a reservation that would allow me to try it. And I found this one. A bit about Old Key West. It was the first Disney Vacation Club resort. That means the rooms are very big. They're 390 square feet. They're the biggest of any studio rooms at Disney World. I paid $230 for this one night reservation. If you booked it through Disney, it would be $550 plus tax. So obviously, huge savings, 60% off of the regular price. And I also wanted to stay at Disney this first night because we wanted to use the free water park admission that everyone gets on check-in day at any Disney resort. So we're really maximizing our one night stay. Again, I don't recommend anyone do this nonsense, but we were doing it for research so that you can learn all about the different perks that you get from when you rent Disney Vacation Club points, for example. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes about renting DVC points that explains the whole process, how it works. It is my go-to way to stay at Disney resorts for way cheaper than you'd pay through Disney. The second night was actually a free stay on points that I earned from my favorite travel credit card. I'm going to also link that in the show notes. It was at what has now become my favorite off-property resort at Walt Disney World. It is the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress. It is right outside of Disney Springs. The range is 12 to 15,000 Hyatt points per night. When you book Hyatt stays with points, you do not have to pay the resort fee. And that is great because it's $50 per night at this resort. Now, you do get a lot with that fee, but how awesome is it to not only stay for free, but also get that resort fee for free? There is also a nightly parking charge in theory. So my experience often at Hyatt hotels is that you should be charged a nightly parking fee when you're staying on points, but I often get it waived. And in this situation, they did not charge me for the parking. It was supposed to be $37 for the one night. I used my key card to get in and out just like I was supposed to, but they did not hit my card with the fee. So your mileage may vary with this, of course, but this is not the first time when I should have been charged for parking at a Hyatt stay on points and I did not get charged for parking. So I will talk more about that hotel later. There's a lot to say about it, but I'm going to now go through kind of our trip and how it went. My daughter helped me plan this trip, and she was adamant that we take an early flight on Sunday morning, the day we left, so that we could go straight to the water parks. She was really excited to go to the water parks. And I too love the Disney water parks, especially when it's 93 degrees and sunny out, like it was the day that we went. So we got up very early, arrived at Orlando International Airport before 8 a.m., got some breakfast, and then went to pick up our rental car. Because I was moving resorts and we were going to the water park first, renting a car made a lot of sense, especially since we could leave our bags in the car while we went to the water park and then just drive straight to the resort when we were done. So it really solved a lot of problems by renting this car. Before we picked up our rental car, I stopped by the visitor toll pass vending machine. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to my post. I finally have a post up about this. I shared this post on Facebook last week about this hack really for saving money on the tolls around Orlando, and it went viral and got over 1 million views. So clearly people are interested in this visitor toll pass program. So you can read more about it there. In essence, you just sign up on their app ahead of time, register a credit card, you pay a $10 deposit, then you scan a QR code at this vending machine at the airport. P.S. I love vending machines. I don't know what it is, but I think they're really fun. So I scanned this QR code of the vending machine and I got a little hang tag that you hang in your car's rear view mirror. You decline any toll program with your rental car company because they will try to upsell you on this. They're like, hey, it's only $15 a day and we'll just cover all the tolls and you won't have to worry about it. Decline all of their offers, because as soon as you drive through a toll, this hang tag will link the license plate on the rental car with the toll pass account, and then you'll just be charged the discounted rates for the tolls around Orlando as if you had a pass, which some people bring their own pass with them. Like, that's great. I don't have one at home because I don't commute. I don't have a toll pass. So this is a great solution when you don't want to pay that daily fee to your rental car company. I rented the car also with points from my favorite credit card. This is a theme here. Something I always recommend doing is, regardless of where you make your rental car reservation, join the loyalty program of the rental car company that you're renting from. So this was through Thrifty, and I had already had an account with Thrifty Blue Chip, but I added that number to the rental. So when I got to the airport, I could just go straight outside. I didn't have to go to the counters in the airport with the long lines. I could just go right outside and they'd have my car ready because it was linked to the membership, to the loyalty program. Also, they gave me a free upgrade to a brand new little Buick SUV because I was registered with their loyalty program. So really, it's free. There's no reason not to do it, and it can be a huge benefit on the trip. Another tip about rental cars, since it's summer and a lot of people are traveling and likely renting a car, I always check a week before my trip to see if the price has dropped on my rental car reservation. I always do a free cancellation on rental cars because of this reason, and the price had dropped like 40% since when I booked. So I canceled and rebooked. It was only 6,000 points on this credit card, which is about $60 for the 3-day rental. Plus I got the free upgrade and everything. It was an incredible deal. So always check a week before is when I go to check and see if the price has dropped, because oftentimes it has. So we drove straight to Blizzard Beach. That is the water park we chose to go to because we went to Typhoon Lagoon last year, loved it, so we wanted to try Blizzard Beach. We got there about 9:20 a.m. It opens at 10, but they will let you into the park at 9:30. Most people do not know that, showing up at late and being behind the crowd, right? And I'm going to do a full episode on Blizzard Beach. There's so much to say about it because the water parks are very popular right now because they are offering free admission on check-in day, and you really have to have a strategy just like you would have at the theme parks. So I'm going to do a separate show on it, but the takeaway is by noon, it was packed. And thank goodness we had a strategy and we did all of the water slides before noon because the lines got ridiculously long. Like, we walked onto the Steamboat Springs raft ride at, 10:30. And then when we went back, we were like, oh, we'll ride it again at noon. It was like a 40-minute wait. No, not doing it. So look for that show coming soon on Blizzard Beach to get lots of strategy. I got a text at 10:45 a.m. there at Blizzard Beach that our room was ready at Old Key West. Now, I have seen a lot of advice from so-called experts online lately for Disney World not to do online check-in. to go to your resort around your check-in time and check in at the desk, because then you might have a chance of getting an upgrade. Now, to that I say, upgrades are extremely rare at Disney World. These hotels are booked solid. There's very rare that you will get an upgrade. The only times I've ever had an upgrade was in low season. So don't think you're going to get that in the summertime. You're not. I say always do online check-in, because this allowed us to know that our room was ready. And whenever we were done at Blizzard Beach, which ended up being like 1:45, we were like done, we could just go straight to our room. So I didn't have to go to the front desk. I literally drove to our building at Old Key West and we went right up to the room with our bags. It made it so much easier. So this is why I say always check in online. We chilled in our room for a couple of hours because we were exhausted, obviously. And then at 5, we headed to Disney Springs. Now you can take a boat from Old Key West to Disney Springs. That's a really nice feature of it there. But we had this rental car. It was like 7 minutes away, so we just drove. I wanted to go to a new restaurant at Disney Springs I'd never been to called Hyatt. It is a celebrity chef restaurant, Jose Andres, I believe. Because a friend had shared something with me. It's an app called inKind. It's basically a way to pay your bill at restaurants, but the first time you use it, they'll give you $25 off a $50 tab. And there's only 2 restaurants at Disney World that use it. Hyatt is one. And I love tapas, Spanish tapas restaurant, so we went there to give it a try. Oh, the other restaurant is Planet Hollywood, which is a hard pass for me. So the thing I learned about Hyatt is very, very pricey. It's a signature restaurant. It is authentic Spanish tapas. So I went with my 12-year-old daughter who was like, what is all this stuff? But I really liked it. Because it was so expensive, really, you could just get a few apps and a drink, and it's probably going to be $50. So my advice would be, if you want to give this a try, and I'll put a link in the notes here to sign up for inKind so you can get the 25 off of 50, is to just go there for your first course, have like 3 or 4 tapas plates, have a drink, and then move on to somewhere else for your meal. I mean, I would always go to the Polite Pig for my meal because it's my favorite restaurant at Disney Springs. The line was very, very long at Polite Pig at 7 p.m. when we were leaving. There was like a very long line out the door just to get in. So keep that in mind. The word is out that the Polite Pig is the best restaurant at Disney Springs. It's not a hidden gem. We did get a cookie from the cookie bar at Summer House on the Lake, which is right by Hyatt, and I hadn't been there before. Outstanding. It was $5. It was huge. I swear you could share it with 3 people. So if you haven't been to the cookie bar yet there, give it a shot. The next day, we just hung out at Old Key West. It's a great resort for doing that at because there's so many activities there. They have a great pool, water slide, they have tennis, a great playground, ping pong, foosball. They have bike rentals, which does cost additional money, but it's just a very chill resort. It has a great vibe, lots to do there. So we stayed there until about 2. We moved over to the Hyatt because my room was also ready early, and we kind of got set up there because we were heading to Epcot for our 4 p.m. entrance with our conference tickets. Now, this is something I've heard about for years, but was never able to figure out how to do this. There are discounted part day tickets available if you know someone who is attending a conference in Orlando, a convention, say, and, family and friends of convention goers can have access to these tickets. Now, Disney has no way to verify that you know someone who's at this conference. That would be impractical for them to be able to do this. So this is kind of something I do have to gatekeep because I know if word got out on how to do this, that people would ruin it and then it wouldn't be available for the people that want to do it anymore. So I am gatekeeping this. I don't do that often, but I have to. So it is inside my Neverland Travel Club monthly membership. That's how I just limit how many people get access to it. But it's only $7 a month to join my membership, and the value in it is insane. You will get so many discounts, tips, advice. It's incredible. So I'm gonna put a link to that in the show notes, or you can just go to thebudgetmouse.com/Neverland and it will take you to how to join that. So we did go to Epcot at 4 p.m. with our very discounted tickets. They were $88 each. Now, the reason I said this already, we're going is for extended evening hours. So even though we got in at 4 with our conference tickets, we were allowed to stay until we were there till almost midnight with extended evening hours. So full day at Epcot, despite only getting there at 4. You can also get tickets that get you in at 1 p.m., though they are more expensive. Now, a week before we went to Epcot, I checked wait times on Monday. What I was curious about was how much it does extended evening hours, the availability of that, impact the wait times at Epcot for the afternoon and evening. And when I checked a week before, the wait times were very, very high in that afternoon. And I was like, I didn't want to buy multi-pass unless I needed it, but it was looking like I would probably need it if I didn't want to wait 20 minutes for Spaceship Earth, 40 minutes for Soaring, and I didn't want to do that. In fact, we were going to try to ride every ride at Epcot from 4 p.m. to 11 and see if we could pull that off. Now, that got foiled because rides went down, of course, but that was the goal. So I did end up buying Lightning Lane Multipass in advance. We get there and I didn't need it. The lines were very short. So this is the thing. It was $21 each. I, in hindsight, could have waited to buy it, but didn't know that the lines would be short. Also didn't know that Remy was going to go down. So we went to ride Remy with our Lightning Lane Multipass at 7 p.m. It was down and it stayed down for the whole rest of the night. So it was kind of a waste to buy Multipass. But live and learn. We really wanted to ride Guardians of the Galaxy, but I wanted to try and do it during extended evening hours because in theory, the wait should have been shorter. It was a much smaller group of people who were there after hours. And we thought we could ride it with a shorter wait. Well, you'll hear how that went. So we did do a lot of rides up until 9 when we watched the fireworks. Then we rode 3 Caballeros. We had snacks in Mexico. We went on Mission Space. And at 10:25, we're just like, all right, we're getting in line for Guardians of the Galaxy, despite it being a posted 70-minute wait. So we are not used to waiting in lines at all. Because of the strategies I have, we never wait in line. So this was highly unusual. And my daughter was like, I don't know if I like this. And I was like, yeah. It's not fun. And I mean, we looked around and like everyone's just like sitting on the ground, their heads in their hands, and they're so tired. A lot of them had been at Epcot all day. And I was like, the general vibe here is suffering. It's not a lot fun. That was our takeaway. We did get to the pre-show. I timed it 37 minutes after we got in line. We got to the pre-show, but it then takes quite a while to go through the pre-show. And it was a full 60 minutes until our butts were on that ride. And to me, it was too long. So I wouldn't do it again. The thing about extended hours that I've learned is that other times of the year, people have reported that the lines were very much shorter during extended hours. We did not experience that. It could be many things. Probably peak summer travel had definitely started. Also, Remy's was down, so there were only really 2 headliners. Test Track is also not reopened. So if there's 4 rides that are headliners open during extended hours, that spreads people out more, but there were really only 2. So everyone was there to ride the same ride. I would just say going in, it's awesome to have the extra time at Epcot. I love Epcot at night. It does feel very special to be there after hours. Don't expect like a guarantee that it will be shorter waits though. This was probably the same waits we would have had during the day on these rides. So that is my takeaway. So we got back to the hotel at like 12:30 p.m., very tired. We slept in the next day and enjoyed the Hyatt property. And it is an incredible property. There's so much to do. Their main pool is fantastic. There are 12 waterfalls, a swim through grotto, a great slide. And then there's so many activities that are included with the resort fee. Bike rentals, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, rock climbing wall, mini golf. That's all included. You don't have to pay extra for it. And remember, you're getting that all for free if you go with points. Anyway, so it's a fantastic arrival or departure day hotel. The rooms are a little weird. They have 1 queen and 1 double bed, just something to be aware of. It's not your usual setup, but again, a great hotel. Now, the food is very, very pricey at this hotel. It is deluxe. So I had seen on the Instagram about an all-you-can-eat Mickey waffle breakfast right down the road, 4 minutes down the road at the Rosen Inn, Lake Buena Vista. So we got in the car and drove down there because I wanted to experience this. It was fantastic. Wow. Such great food, $15 each. The Mickey waffles were great. They had bacon, eggs, everything. It was huge. So I'm going to do a reel on Instagram about it, but it was really a good find. So we were able to stay at the room until 2 p.m. because I had late checkout granted by my Hyatt status. I've Discover status just because I have the Hyatt credit card. So it's a great perk of having that card. So we were able to go right from the room to the airport. We went to the Priority Pass Lounge in Terminal C because we have lounge access through Capital One Venture X. Now this is changing. They changed all the rules with this about lounge access. So until February 1st, 2026, you and 2 people will get into the lounge for free when you have Capital One Venture X, but that is changing in the future. And then last, for my points and miles people, we did fly Delta both ways, but I booked one way with KLM, which is the same as Flying Blue, the Air France loyalty program, because the flight was 6,500 points through there. It was on Delta metal, as they say. It was on a Delta plane, but it was 6,500 points there versus 11,000 through Delta. So I just moved the points to KLM, booked through there, and flew the same Delta flight for way fewer points. So always check with partners. And again, these were points through my favorite travel card, which I used again and again and again for funding this trip. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you found this episode helpful, could you take a second and leave a 5-star rating and review because it really helps more people find the show. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.